with your electricals, you can just bring your power point up through the floor and bring them a little conduit up in front of your wall. Alternatively, if you do have the time, you can drill through the joist and then actually drill through your timber straight through the top of here. You've got 70mm, you want to use a 22mm speedball bit so it fits down in between the groove like that. When you've brought your wire up through that board, do the same on your next board, and then you can bring it out so then you attach your power point to the wall, and this will save you having conduit everywhere. With the second layer of electricals, we've bored a hole through the next layer, right through, and then we bored a hole through the side. So using the same 22mm bit, we go in and then put on a little bit of an angle and then just go slowly, dig that hole and then go back down through here. So this wire is now going to come up through underneath here and out there, and then we put our PowerPoint box on there. We're now getting all our base layer ready to go. We're using our half pieces in all the walls, so where the walls join. These bits in the 70mm kits, you can see that's where the door is going to be. And we're getting our first layer laid out, and then we're going to screw it all down. When we get to our packs, rather than moving things multiple times, we can pull out a length like this one here. This one's one of our side timbers, and we make a stack beside the cabin. So we know that that's going to go on this side. It's almost a similar piece on the other side. We're going to make little stacks. So one stack here, one stack over here. Remember, when you do make a stack, to butt the ends of the timber up perfectly in line, in case one piece of timber is 320mm and another one's 340mm. Otherwise you'll get confused of where you put the 340mm piece. By taking the layers away and making stacks, it helps you get to the boards you're looking for. So here's the 14s I've been looking for. They're for the bathroom wall. I'm going to go make a stack for the bathroom wall now. So when we're working through the plans, we're taking note of this little figure here. We've got wall C. Wall C is the middle wall. Wall D is the front veranda. Wall A is generally the front wall, and wall B is generally the back wall. So we're looking at our little pieces here. We've got all our numbers up the side here, 019s, and there's numbers here. We've got 49. 49 is a bit that goes in between this wall here. So what we're best to do is pick out the pieces we want, put them in the spaces close to where they're going to go, and that'll help us get down to the bits of the timber we need, and we'll make some nice even stacks, and we'll get this all rolling. There's things to look out for. These little things here, that's where the door or window will door or window structure, so you know that's going to be attaching to a door or a window. Whereas when you've got a piece like this, we can see that that's going into a wall or a corner. So if you get lost, always go back to the plan. And if something isn't labelled, then you go back to the parts list in the back, we check out the parts list and we measure the length of that timber, and that'll help us decipher exactly where that piece of timber goes. Something I like to do when we're building is I'll go to the wall 2, I'll have a look at the numbers. We've got 9s here, we've got 0, 1, 0, we just call them 10s, 1s and 4s, and when you're pulling them out of the pack, it can get a bit confusing. So if you go to this plan here, we know that we were on wall 2. Wall 2 is the left side wall here, and you mark the numbers down 009. So then we know that all those numbers will be on this side of the cabin. So you can pull the pieces out and put them over on this side, and if you mark them around each side like that, it'll help you know exactly what number goes where. Now remember, as you're making your stacks, to stack them up evenly. The reason is, if one's slightly different size and you've just put it in a pile, you might notice that the end might be out here, but if you don't stack them nice in a nice straight pile, you won't notice that, and that could be a piece that goes in another wall somewhere out there, and you'll spend ages looking for it. So make sure you stack your pack up nicely, then you won't get confused. Okay, so now we're happy, we've got our corners in the right spot, we've got that perfect angle. We're going to start on this corner, we've got our lip here correctly, and we're going to go 100 mil away from the log horn. We call this space the log horn. We go 100 mil, we're going to pre-drill with our 67 mil drill bit. Once we've done that, on the sides we're going to use one of the 200 mil batten bits supplied, batten screws. When you screw it down a little bit, we pull it back up, and that makes sure that this holds really tight. If you just screw it down once really quickly, you'll end up having a little space under here. So you pull the screw back up and then push it down. That'll hold that really tight and make a perfect job. Now what we're going to do is put another one here, 100 mil away from this log horn. We're going to put our square in here just to double check. We're happy with that. And now we're going to screw it. We'll run a few string lines and we'll get all the base done just like that. On these front corner pieces, we're going to put a screw 100 mil away from the corner and 100 mil away from the window spacing. Now, even though we've used our back wall piece to get our spacing correct, it's good to use your tape measure to double check that it's correct. We can see that's 1590. On the plan, the space is 1590 for the front door. So we're just doing the other side of the middle wall. We put our back wall piece back on here again, so that we know that that's the left side's fixed, and we can screw off the right side. So now, don't drill your screws in too deep. So you just want the head of the screw just going down a tiny bit, about 1 or 2 mil, just so they don't stop the other timber sitting down properly like it should.
Push that a little bit in. Yeah, that's about it.
We've got a join like this. We've got 2 door spaces. We've used the center wall, the back wall piece, to get our measurements correct. We can also use our plan to check the spacing is correct. And you want to put in some screws here. So we've got a 125 mil batten screw, another 125 mil batten screw, and then through the middle here, we're going to put a 200 mil batten screw right down into our joist. On this middle wall, we're going to put a 125 in the join there, and a 200 mil batten screw. You can go on each and every joist. It's a bit of overkill, so we just mix it up and go on second joist there. Every now and then you'll get a timber that won't go right down. This one is actually bouncing, and that's because it is a little bit bowed upwards like that. But in this case, it's not too dramatic. So when you put the next timber on top, the weight of the timber will pull this down. If it's really too hard and it won't pull down, then and only then would you put a 200 mil batten screw to hold those two together.
Only in the first layer.
But only in the first layer. Once you get to about 3 layers up, it's a really good idea to stop and take a break and have a cup of tea. Just to double check you've done everything correctly. Make sure that in your corners, your holes, you're in all the corners, and have a break. So remember, each piece, you tap along it with your mallet all the way along. Have a look down here and double check that it's in nice and firmly.
That's gonna be here. But not now when we get to this.
Every now and then you'll get a piece of timber that's a little bit bowed, a little bit hard to get in. Don't keep bashing it with a hammer, don't keep forcing it. Just put your F-clamp on it, tighten it up, put a bit of a lean on your F-clamp, and then tap it gently with your mallet, and you'll find it'll slot back in. If it's twisted the other way, of course, you just put your F-clamp on the other side, like so, close it up, and lean it the other way, and then tap it with your mallet. It's a good idea every now and then just to check the walls level. It should always be level, generally is. If it's not, you might just have to tap your boards over that way with your mallet. But 9 times out of 10, it'll be perfect. Now that we've got up to a certain height, it's a really good idea, once again, to take a cup of tea and count up how many boards you've got before your window height. Always double check this. We've got a little half board, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a window. So that's on wall B on your back window. It's a good idea to do this because, and also double check the front wall here. We see wall A, it's different. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and a half. So just take some time to really think about that as you're going up, and you'll get them in the perfect. Once we start getting up high, we're going to get to what we call the milk crate stage or the ladder stage. Preferably use a ladder, much stronger. So get your ladders out, and that'll help us get up to the higher proximities. Remember, the middle of this cabin is about 3.2 meters high, so you're definitely going to need your ladder for that. These ones, you can get them from Bunnings for about $18. There is the black ones for $12. The black ones tend to leave marks on your timber, so when you're hitting your timber it tends to leave marks, but yeah, these are really good. $18 at Bunnings. Get 2 of them and they'll make the job easy. When we get up to quite this height, we're almost overhead height now, we're going to put these fillets into these spaces. So the fillet's designed to sit in the spaces, and why we're doing them now, you can leave them till later, but it really helps to keep all this timber really nice and straight. Just like that. And we just leave it out a little bit so that we can put the next piece of timber on, and that'll make it easier to put the next timber in. We'll do the other side exactly the same way. Just like that.